Alright, hello YouTube, and welcome to another weekly episode. My name is Foley, and today's episode is going to be actually episode 3 of the Beginners series. Today is going to be the standard Disenchant guide. Legendary Disenchant guide. Alright, so I'll just do a little basic intro for people, for some new players. Basically, if you go into the crafting mode, you'll see where you can disenchant extra cards for dust. Doing this allows you to get some much needed dust to be able to craft cards that you might be missing for a particular. Alrighty, sorry about that, guys. Seems like my internet is being absolutely wonderful today. Alright, so starting off with Druid, Fandrel's Staghelm is a really great card. He actually has a deck around him right now. Unfortunately, I don't have him. I would like to craft him though. He's a cost 4. He's a 3/5. Your choose one cards have both effects combined. So, like the first card that comes to mind is the 5. The one costs 5. Your Druid 4/4 Druid Claw. You can choose to give him +2 taunt or charge. You would actually get both. So really some pretty good valuable cards there. Aviana, it costs 9, 5/5. Your minions cost 1. Still in play. I've definitely seen her in some decks. So I would honestly keep all of these. Cenarius is really good to gain control of the board. Also, because you can either choose to summon 2/2/2 Treants with taunt, or give all your other minions +2/+2. Combined with Fandrel, you could do both. Really good card. So for Hunter, Dreadscale, I've seen him in a few aggro decks, so I would probably keep him. I'm not a big Hunter player, so I might not make the best recommendations. Princess Haharian, I don't know how you say it. That's the closest I could do. Really good card, costs 5. Has the same stats as Savannah Highmane, 6/5, and then triggers a friendly minion's death rattle effect. So that's pretty good. Costs 1 less than Savannah Highmane, and has a pretty good battle cry, especially if you have a death rattle deck. We'll probably see some play. Acid Maul has seen some play. Costs 7. It's a 4/2, but whenever a minion takes damage, destroy it. That's pretty much a board record. And King Crush costs 9. He's an 8/8 charge. Big body. Can do a lot of damage. Seen him in some decks for sure. Archmage Antonidas for Mage. Really great card. Fits in pretty much all the Mage decks. So if you get him, or if you craft him, you really want to keep him. Anomalous, there we go. Costs 8. It's a 8/6 death rattle, deal 8 damage to all minions. Clears the board basically. Costs a lot and doesn't do anything right when it comes out. Has to be killed. So I mean, it might see some play later on, but right now it's not seeing a heck of a lot of play. So I would probably disenchant it, most honestly. Ronan. Really good card, costs 8, 7/7 death rattle, add 3 copies of arcane missiles. He has seen some play in a tempo. So if you get him, I would definitely keep him, because you could probably use it. So for Paladin, I have Erodic the Pure. He's an interesting card. He costs 7 though, but his battle cry is change all enemy minions attack to 1. So it's pretty good, but you can't really combo it with Consecration on the same turn. You have to wait till the next turn to do it. But he's a 3/7 and makes the whole board one attack basically. So I've seen him in some decks. I don't know. It's up to you. If you'll see him, you could disenchant him. If you're gonna use Paladin, you might want to keep him. Your call. Ragnaros, 8, and he's an 8/8. You can't attack with him. This version, you couldn't attack with the old version. At the end of your turn, restore 8 health to a damage-friendly character. Really good card. Provides some survivability because it heals you, or it can heal your minions on the board. Tyrion, really good card. I would keep Tyrion, especially if you have a Paladin deck, because he's in most of them. Except for mine, because I don't have him, unfortunately. He costs 8, he's a 6/6, he has Divine Shield and Taunt, and his Death Rattle gives you a 5/3 Ashbringer for a weapon, so really good card, especially for control. So going on to Priest, Herald Village, he costs 6, he's a 5/5, his battle cry is summon a 1/1 copy of each of your other minions. I think he would see some play, just because it'd be interesting if he had Sylvanas, some other legendaries that you could copy their death rattle abilities, or their abilities period. So I would probably keep him. Confessor Palatrus has seen some play in wild format before Standard came out. She was in some decks. Her Inspire, summon a random legendary minion. So cost 2 and you summon a legendary minion. You can do it on turn 9. It's a 5/4 also, so you know, not great stats, but the Inspire is really good. Prophet Velen, he is in some gimmick one-turn kill decks. Pretty fun card. Still also can be used in some healing priest decks and stuff, because he costs 7, he's a 7/7, and he doubles the damage and healing of your spells and hero power. So I would probably keep him. Alright, so rogues, these are actually all really good legendaries. Edwin Van Cleef was pretty popular, and he's becoming popular again now. So if you have him, I would definitely keep him if you're going to play rogue, because he's pretty much a staple in most of the decks now. Same thing for this guy, Zero. I was happy, pretty awesome that I actually got him in my 53 card packs that I opened. Plus 4, he's a 3/2. On his battle cry and on his death, you get a random toxin card that's doing different combos with. Some of them cost 1, some cost 2, one's like a draw card. It's got a lot of pretty useful for your activating your combos with, so definitely keep him. A noob costs 9, he's an 8/4, his death rattle, whenever he dies he puts a 4/4 Nerubian on the board and then he goes back into your hand. Really good card. I've actually played him even though I don't own him, because of the summon death rattle minion, which is pretty neat. So Shaman Halazil the Ascended costs 5, he's a 4/6. Whenever your spells deal damage, restore that much health to your hero. Kinda up to you. If you're gonna play Shaman, I still have him, but he's probably gonna be more in the control-y. I haven't seen him in much of the base Shaman decks, just because you're trying to put out more creatures and deal more damage than you are trying to survive. So it's, if you're going to play a control shaman, I would keep him. If you're not, it's up to you. I mean, you can disenchant him if you want to, but he might, it's hard to say right now, because he might become, you know, viable later on in the meta. So, you know. Mistcaller, my friend used him in one of his decks. He costs 6. I think if he costs less, he would probably see more play. He costs 6. He's a 4/4. His battle cry: give all minions in your hand and deck +1/+1. Honestly, right now, I would probably disenchant him, just because it costs a lot, and there's another card out that has a better, pretty much a better, you know, ability that costs less, or the same ability that costs less. This guy, the Owl, has seen some play, costs 8, he's a 3/5, but he's got all the abilities in the world. He's got Wind Fury, he's got Charge, he's got Divine Shield, and he's got Taunt. So he's been in, I've seen him in a lot of Shaman decks, so I would, if you are lucky enough to get him, I would definitely keep him. Alright, so Warlock. Wilfred Fizzlebang. There, mind you, there probably are a few gimmicks. Use him. If you want to use a gimmick deck like, but otherwise I would probably disenchant him. Shergal is a 7/7. His battle cry is the next spell that you cast this turn costs health instead of mana. Hasn't seen a whole lot of play so far, just because it costs so much. 7% goes with them. It needs to be turn 9, turn 10, and right now being played a hell of a lot, so he is not going to go in a zoo deck. If you maybe a handlock deck, he might be used, but haven't seen much played of him as of late. So you could probably disenchant him, unless you're going to play Warlock. Then you might want to keep him. Alright, so on to Lord Jiraxis. He costs 9. He's a 3/5 demon. His battle cry is destroy your hero and replace it with Lord Jiraxis. He is a really good card, even if you just play him on the board, because he's got 15 health, which is a lot. It's a lot to kill. Also, whenever you become Jiraxis, you get some pretty cool abilities and a really cool laugh. That's pretty awesome. Really good card. Would definitely keep him. Do not disenchant him. Sorry, I had something in the way. Okay, on to Warrior. So, Malkarak is, from what I've heard, he's a really good card. He costs 7, he's a 6/5. Whenever you play him from, Battle Cry, equip a random weapon. So, usually, you are going to get a good weapon with him. I mean, you're going to get some weapons that cost 2... weapon, but most likely, you'll get a weapon attack, or really your weapons attack, so it does more damage. So I think it's really solid. Heard the guy from In Gaming talking about him, pretty much wrecking face with him in Warrior, so I would definitely keep him. If you're in Warrior, you could craft him and probably do some pretty good. On to Gramash Hellscream. He costs 8. He is a 9, but he has charge and enrage of +6 attack. He's pretty much your finisher for and for 8 charge, pretty good. Definitely worth keeping. I lucky enough to get him in back. So if you're lucky enough to get him, keep him. It's really good. On to the next one, Varian Bryn. He costs 10, he's a 7/7. His battle cry is draw 3 cards. Put any minions you drew directly into the battlefield. Pretty good. You have to wait till turn 10, so probably going to be in a control warrior deck. Yeah, draw 3 cards, put them into play. Pretty dang awesome. Alright, so on to the neutral cards. Shifter Zeros. I think he's more of a gimmick card, honestly. He's a 1/1. You can't play him on turn 1 because it takes him a turn to shift it to something else. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random minion. I mean, you might get lucky and eventually get that one card that you need on the curve to play it, but he'll probably just be sitting in your hand for a while, most likely. Up to you if you want to disenchant him or not. Your call. Sir Finley Murgleton. He is from League of Explorers. Pretty good card. Costs 1. He's a 1/3. His battle cry is discover a new basic hero power. You see him a lot in like Face Shaman, just because of his stats, and then because you could change it from your totem into a different hero power that might be more helpful. So pretty good card. Would definitely keep him. Blood Mage Thalados, costs 2, he's a 1/1, gives you a spell damage boost and a death rattle, draw a card. Really good card. I almost crafted him, but instead I went with Yogg. I don't know if that was a wise decision or not, because Yogg is very into killing himself. but Blood Mage Thalanos is very much a staple. You see him in a lot of decks. I mean, he'd probably be in a Death Rattle deck, as well as Mage uses him a lot for spell damage. So, really good card, would keep him. Lore Walker Cho, costs 2, he's an 0/4. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a copy into the other player's hand. Very interesting card. Has messed with me on my tempo deck a few times, just because I'm like, oh crap, do I really want to play that Frostbolt now and give him a Frostbolt? So it can be useful, and it can not be useful. So it's one of those cards that you know, you might use and you might not. Just depends on the type of deck that you're using. Alright, so Millhouse Manastorm costs 2. He's a 4/4. Battlecry enemy spells cost 0 next turn. You really don't see him a heck of a whole lot. You do see, the only time I really have seen him is like the Megazord Tavern Brawl, which had both Millhouse Manastorm and Lore Master Cho in it. Just in a gimmick deck, I mean, the stats are good, yeah, but the Battlecry is pretty much bad for you. So I would honestly disenchant him. You got him. Nat Pagle, he costs 2. He's an 0/4. At the start of your turn, you have a 50% chance to draw an extra card. Nat Pagle is a good card, good legendary. He was definitely in some decks before Standard came out. Probably will continue to see him in some decks. So if you see him, or happy enough to, lucky enough to get him, I would keep him. And then there is the corrupted version of him, Nat the Dark Fisher. Costs 2, same stats, 2/4. 2/4 instead of 0/4. At the start of your turn, they have a the opponent's turn, they have a 50% chance to draw an extra card. Stat-wise, he's pretty good. 2 for 2/4. And he will definitely be used in mill decks, basically, with card draw. So if you're gonna do kind of deck like that, he's, we'll definitely see some play. If not, it's up to you. I would probably disenchant him. Bran Bronzebeard is from League of Explorers. Really good card, costs 3, 2/4, your battle cry is triggered twice. You can do some pretty amazing combos with Bron. I have him in a dragon deck just because he can beef up attack or health on minions twice. As your Drake, you can draw 2 cards. So there's really a lot of possibilities with Bron in a deck. He's a good inclusion also to just pretty much any of the decks. Darkbane, not even going to try the first name, costs 3, 3/4. Whenever you target this minion with a spell, 3 damage, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. Both of the Banes are really good. This one, the 3/4 for 3 really solid stats, and then ability that is solid. If you have it, keep it. If you don't have it and you want it, I would craft it. I mean, just depends on what type of deck you're running, but they're definitely in some good decks. Then there's the Sister, the Lightbane, costs 3, same stats. Whenever you target this spell, whenever you target this minion with the spell, you gain Divine Shield. I wish I had it because I have a Divine Shield Paladin deck that's pretty popular now. Really good card, in my opinion. Definitely worth keeping. King Mukla, he costs 3. He's a 5/5. Battlecry, give your opponent 2 bananas. I had him in a Hunter deck just because he's a 5/5 for 3. Pretty good. The bananas cost 1, and you can target a creature and they'll give it +1/+1, basically. So I have debated on disenchanting him because he's a beast. I guess you could use it in Druid also. It's debatable. If you're running one of those, you might see some use out of them. If not, you probably won't see much use out of them. Tink Master Oberspark. He costs 3. He's a 3/3. His battle cry is transform another random minion into either a 5/5 Devil Sword or a 1/1 Swirl. So has some RNG in him. Pretty good stats. 3/3 for 3. Not too shabby. I have seen him in a few decks, but he's not hugely popular. So it's really your call if you want to disenchant him or not. I don't have him, but I'm not going to go out of my way to craft him. I would probably disenchant him most likely. Okay, so for Elise Starseeker, good. The map to the Golden Monkey into your deck. The map basically draws the golden, is your key to getting the Golden Monkey. If you haven't seen it before, it's pretty cool. The Golden Monkey is a taunt. I don't remember the stats on it. Whenever he dies, all of your deck becomes legendaries. So, pretty useful. Is it going to happen all the time? No, but the main reason that they put him in there is because of the value. You get a 3/5, and then you also get the chance of getting another card to get more cards, basically. Gormok the Impaler costs 4. He's a 4/4. His battle cry. If you have at least 4 other minions, deal 4 damage. He is actually in the Zulok deck. Great addition to that deck. But that's probably about the only deck I've seen him, or any other decks that will flood the board with minions. You might see him, you know, there. So I would probably keep him, because he's probably going to be around for a little while. You can use him, right now you can use him standard, and you can probably use him in wild later on too. Alright, so Captain Greenskin, costs 5, he's a 5/4, he is a pirate, and his battle cry is give your weapon +1/+1. I have seen him in a few decks. Don't personally own him, I don't even have a pirate deck, but if you have a pirate deck, you'll probably use him in a pirate deck. So I would, you know, probably not. So next card is around for a while. Costs 5, he's a 5/4. His battle cry is destroy your opponent's weapon and draw cards equal to its durability. So if you're facing a hero class that has weapons, paladin, warrior, those kind of things, one out, really good card. He's still a good card, just because he's 5 for 5/4. He costs 5 and he's 5/4, so stats are pretty solid. He is in many decks. He's also you could swap him out for, you know, cards. So I would definitely keep him if you get him. Leroy Jenkins. He costs 5. He has charge, and his battle cry is summon 2 1/1 whelps for your opponent. He's a 6/2, mind you. Sorry. He was in a lot of decks. He was in my little Hunter aggro deck that I had. He's going to be in a lot of aggro decks. He's also in, yeah, he was in my my Reno deck as well, just because you can beef him up. He's in some like one-turn kill decks because you can beef up his attack and deal a lot of damage. So if you have him, I would definitely keep him, because he's probably going to be around for a while with the 6 attack. Next is Champion Sarad. Costs 5. He's a 4/5. Inspire. Add a random spell to your hand. Really good card. If you're familiar with Hot Form, he actually used him in his tempo deck. I have seen him played in standard mode a good bit, so he's going to be around for a while. I would definitely keep him, just because he doesn't cost a whole lot, so you can use it on turn 7 and draw a card with it, and usually you get some, especially with Mage, probably get some pretty good, decent spells out of it. Both Ram Shield costs 6, he's a 3/9. Whenever your hero takes damage, this minion takes it instead. So pretty much he's a shield for you. Whenever someone tries to fireball your face, it would instead fireball him. I could see where it would have its uses. Have I seen it in a lot of decks? No, I've probably only seen it once or twice. So, I mean, unless you give it taunt or that kind of thing, it would be kind of hard to kill because of the health. 9 health is pretty good. But I don't think it's really made a big staple, so I would probably disenchant it if you get it. Karen Bloodhoof costs 6. He's a 4/5. Sorry, his death rattle is summon a 4/5 Bane Bloodhoof. He was popular like a while back, and now he's becoming popular again just because of the death rattle decks that we're seeing with Insoth. So if you're lucky enough to have him, I would keep him. I have debated about crafting him just because basically he's so good because of his value. I mean, if you think about it, he costs 6 and he's a 8/10 whenever his other one comes out. So really definitely worth keeping. Rashian costs 6. He's a 5/5. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. He's in a lot of decks. He was in my old Druid deck, just for the combo. Of course, that got nerfed to the ground. He's in Freeze Mage. He's probably in some other decks that I can't think of. I have seen him a lot. He's probably eventually will. Yeah, he's gonna go out of style. Pretty much next expansion. But right now, he's still good. If you don't, I probably wouldn't go out of your way, because you have to unlock him in Blackrock Mountain to get him. But if you have him, keep him for now. He's probably going to be around for a little while. So Hogger, he costs 6. He's a 4/4. I think he's a pretty decent card because at the end of your turn, you summon a 2/2 Null with taunt. So if he lasts 1 turn, I mean he's a 6/6 for 6 basically, and it's hard to get around the Nulls. And I have seen him in a few decks, competitive decks, not a whole lot, but I mean, I probably wouldn't go out of my way to craft him, but I'm sure you could, see some use out of him. I think some people use him early on when they don't have a lot of other cards go-to options. People are just starting out, so they would definitely use him there. But you never know; he might come back around. So it's really it's your call if you would keep him or not. Illidan Stormrange costs 6. He's a 7/5 demon. Whenever you play a card, summon a 2/1 Flame of Azzinoth. I just got him not that long ago, so I've been trying to use him in the Zulok deck. Have I been successful? A few times I've gotten a few, flames out, but honestly, he just hasn't seen a whole lot of play. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep him or not. We'll have to see. But I think it's pretty much your call if you want to keep him or not. I'm keeping him just because it's Illidan, and I'm big on lore, and I like Illidan. So yeah, your call. Justicar Trueheart costs 6. He's a 6/3, or I guess I don't know if it's a he or she. But its battle cries replace your starting hero power with a better one. Definitely a staple in warrior decks. Have seen it in a few paladin decks, just because, I hate it so much, because it beefs up their armor, basically doubles the armor, and doubles the instead of putting out 1/1/1, it puts out 2/1/1s for paladin. So it's a really good card right now. Has seen a lot of play. So if you have it, keep it. Muklaw, this is the corrupted version. Tyrant of the Veil, costs 6. Costs 6 instead of 3, and he's a 5/5. His battle cry, you get to keep your bananas. Basically, add 2 bananas to your hand. Quite honestly, I would probably disenchant it. Unless it's gonna be some kind of gimmicky deck or some kind of beef up deck, I really don't see right now where there's gonna be a whole lot of play for him. Reno Jackson, costs 6, he's a 4/6. His battle cry, if your deck contains no more than one of each card, fully heal your hero. Many people, when he first came out, were like, I don't know if this card's going to see a lot of play. But oh my gosh, has it seen a lot of play? Because basically you just have to change your deck to enable his battle cry, and it makes the game go so much longer. He's in Reno. There's all kind of Reno decks for him. The main one you see him in is Warlock. But yeah, really good card. You get him in the League of Explorers. He's pretty popular right now. Sylvanas is a really good card. She costs 6, 5/5, and her death rattle is take control of a random enemy minion. Really good. She's a really good counter to Sethan, if you think about it. Because Sethan comes out, deals a lot of damage to the board, and then if he's the only one, you get their Sethan the next turn and can attack with them. I actually did that and killed a guy. It was so great, so great. She is such a good card. I mean, she's able to kill, able to steal pretty much any of their minions. If they have a good legendary, only one card out on the board, you know, you'll be able to get it. There's also a good combo with her for Warlock. Shadow Flame in her kills her automatically, wipes out the board, and steals another minion. So, really good card. I actually crafted just because she's found in a lot of decks, especially control decks, and she's going to be found in a lot more decks because of her death rattle, and death rattle's becoming popular again. Alright, so next is the Beast. He costs 6, he's a 9/7. His death rattle is summon a 3/3 Finkel Einhorn for your opponent. It's basically just a 3/3 minion that whenever he dies, someone else gets him. I actually had him, and I disenchanted him. That saying, he has seen a little bit of play, but not a whole lot of a play, because, I mean, unless you have unless you have a Hunter or a Druid deck, you're probably not going to use him a heck of a whole lot. And the downfall that they get their 3/3, I didn't like that a whole lot. Unless you can give him charge and deal damage to him like right away, he usually dies, and he usually dies somehow because they want that stupid 3/3. The Black Knight, he costs 6. He's a 4/5. His battle cry is destroy an enemy minion with taunt. He is seeing a lot of play recently. When he first came out, there was, he was pretty much in a lot of decks just because of the big taunt guys that you can destroy. So yeah, I would definitely keep him because you never know when he's going to come back into the meta again, which right now he's back in the meta. So definitely worth keeping around. Next card is the Skeleton Knight. He costs 6, he's a 7/4, his death rattle is reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, return this to your hand. I have played him because you can draw him from discover him with the 1/2 guy, and I think he's okay. He's not great, but I've used him, if I needed a 6-drop or whatever, and he comes back and gets people, but he hasn't won me any games or anything like that. So if you have him, I don't know. I really don't see him a lot in the other Death Rattle decks, just because Sylvanas costs the most. The same So they usually put Sylvanas in that spot instead of the Skeleton King. Skeleton Knight, sorry guy. But, so I would probably disenchant him, unless you don't have, like, Sylvanas. But I wouldn't go out of your way to craft him or anything. So, I would probably, yeah, I'd probably disenchant him. Baron Geddon, he costs 7, he's a 7/5. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other creatures. He was really popular earlier, like, in Control Warrior, just because he can nuke the crap out of the board and deal a lot of damage to boot. I haven't seen him recently, though, but that doesn't mean that he won't come back around, so I would definitely keep him. He's a good combo for Patron Warrior, and we'll probably see more action later on. Alright, so Chilmaul, he costs 7, he's a 6/6 dragon, he's got Taunt, and his death rattle is if you're holding a dragon, it deals 3 damage to all minions. So pretty much a board clear for most minions. Really good. It's pretty much a staple in the Dragon Priest deck. Really, in any dragon deck, it will be played just because really good. The 6/6 taunt, so means that you got to kill it unless you silence it or something in some other way. And then if you got a dragon on top of that, it's a board clear. So really good card. Alright, so Hogger, the Doom of Elwyn, is the corrupted version of him. He costs 7, so he costs more, but he's a 6/6, so we got a beef up. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/2 Null with Taunt. So pretty much same thing, except for whenever he gets damaged, then you'll get your 2/2 Null with Taunt. So I will probably say that he will be used in, like, the Patron deck keeps coming to mind for some reason, but any decks where really that, will things get damaged to get charged, warrior decks like that, you'll probably see some pretty good use out of them, honestly. So if you're lucky enough to get them, I would probably keep them, because pretty good card, I think. Alright, Rin Blackhand costs 7. He's an 8/4. His battle cry, if you're holding a dragon, destroy a legendary minion. I honestly thought he would see a lot more play just because he can kill a legendary, which is pretty good. But hasn't seen a whole lot of play. I think he's really debatable if you want to disenchant him or not. I'll probably disenchant him eventually, just haven't done it yet, because, there's just so many other legendaries that you can put in your dragon deck, like Chilmaul, for example, that's better, where it'll kill more creatures than just one, basically. So, I'd probably disenchant, probably don't need him. Alright, Sky Captain Crag, he costs 7, he's a 4/6 with charge! He costs 1 less for each friendly pirate. I saw him a decent amount when he first came out in Grand Tournament, but I haven't seen him played a heck of a lot recently. But that doesn't mean that he will see play down the road, because I think the pirate decks are gonna... I think once they get enough decent pirates, that they will see some play, and they have currently seen a little bit more play with Warrior Pirate. So if you got a pirate deck, I would probably keep him. If you don't want one, you could probably disenchant him. Alright, Twin Emperor Veclor. He costs 7, he's a 4/6 with Taunt. His battle cry is if your Seathun has at least 10 attack, summon another Emperor. So basically, he's used for the Seathun decks. Not too hard to get Seathun up to a 10/10 because he already starts out with 6/6, so you just need like 2 minions to beef him up. He's pretty much been called the new Dr. Boom because of his cost, 7. And I guess because he, summons another one. Usually all the time that he's played. So he's a really good card just because of the fact that usually you'll see him um, copied, and then if you have Brawn, you actually get 3 instead of 2. So pretty good card that you can use for a combo as well. And you'll see him in, if people have him, you'll see him in the Seathon decks just because it helps you prolong the game basically, so you can get your Seathon out, clear the board, and kill face. Alright, so Dragon, Chrome Magus, he costs 8, he's a 6/8. Whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand. He has definitely seen some play. I've used him a little bit. You get him from Blackrock Mountain. I thought he would see more play just because of the card draw and everything, where you copy more cards, get more cards, you know. Always pretty awesome. But I haven't seen him played a whole lot recently, just because there's probably better cards that people are using. But at the same time, at least for now in standard mode, I would keep him because there's, you never know when he's going to come back in style. But he is going to eventually be going away pretty soon, since Blackrock's the next to be cut. So, it's up to you if you want to disenchant him or not. I'm keeping him, but I'm a dragon fan, so I like the dragons. Alright, so Gruul, he costs 8, and he's a 7/7. At the end of your turn, gain +1/+1. He was really popular, early on, just because he can be a beast if you don't deal with them. I was thinking about crafting them at one time, but I didn't. I needed some other cards, and kind of glad that I crafted those other cards instead. If you have them, I would probably keep him because you never know. He might see play. He is big game target, so there's that. But he doesn't really do anything immediately on the board, so it's kind of iffy. I mean, he's seen a little bit of play, but not a whole lot of play. So if you want to disenchant him, I mean, perfectly fine. Ragnaros, the original, he costs 8. He's an 8/8. He can't attack, but at the end of your turn, deal 8 damage to a random enemy. Ragnaros is a really good card because you get value out of him as soon as he is played. If there is no other creature, if your opponent doesn't have a creature, it goes face automatically. It has won me many games because of that fact. He's in Tempo Mage, he's in Control Warrior, he's in a lot of decks, so really solid card. If you get him, make sure to keep him because he's really good. Next up is the Boogie Monster. He costs 8, he's a 6/7, and whenever he attacks and kills a minion, he gets +2/+2. If a minion attacks you, they're just dumb. Quite honestly. Because that's the only way that he gets a beef up, is if he kills a minion. Really, in my opinion, not a good card. I'm probably about to disenchant him, actually, because I don't see where he's going to be used at all. So, there you go. Here's an example of a disenchant. Give me some dust. Alright, next up, Alexstrasza. She is a very popular card in Freeze Mage. I guess you could use them in a dragon deck as well. I had her in one for a little bit. She costs 9. She's an 8/8, and her battle cry is set a hero's remaining health to 15. Basically, in Freeze Mage, you use this in combination with Fireball and Frostbolt and the other Ice Lance to do like the next turn kill, basically, because you set their health to 15 and then you kill them, pretty much. She can also, if you need to, heal yourself up to 15 to try to make it through another turn. Great card, staple in Freeze Mage and some other decks, so definitely worth keeping. Next up is Arch Thief for Fawn. He's actually gained in the League of Explorers thing. Can't think of the name of it. Anyway, he costs 9. He's a 7/8. His battle cry is discover a powerful artifact. He has seen some play, and I think there was like a deck or two that was put around him. The artifacts all cost 10, I believe, and do some interesting things. Honestly, I think it's pretty debatable if you want to keep him or not. He does look kind of cool, but I hadn't seen a whole lot of play. But you never know with the meta. Someone might, you know, have a cool deck that comes out that will use him, you know, pretty good. So it's up to you. If you need the dust for a different legendary or something, I would probably disenchant him. Alright, so on to Ice Howl. He costs 9, and it's a 10/10 with charge that can attack heroes. Honestly, pretty crappy, because if you got a 10/10, where you want to go? You want to go face. I mean, unless there's another big minion on the board, I actually don't want to, I want to go face. I'm sorry. I like to go face. The only use that I've seen for this card, and then that's just pretty much given to you, is in the Tavern Brawl that we just had last week, where it's the Mechazoid guy, where you try to Mechazoid. Honestly, I would probably just disenchant it. Get some dust to use for something else. Alright, so Major Domo Executus, he costs 9, he's a 9/7. Death Rattle is replace your hero with Rag. I saw him played when he first came out, but the only bad thing about that is if you have 30 health, Ragnaros I think only has 15 or so your health goes down, and yes, you have cool abilities, but it just honestly hasn't seen that much play. So, I mean, it might come around again if there's some other cool decks that can make good of using Rag as a hero, but most likely not. Probably not. Probably safe to disenchant, I would think. Next up, Malygos. Dragon, costs 9. He's a 4/12. Spell damage plus 5. Crazy good. He's in a lot of the one-turn kill decks. Pretty much a beast, dragon-wise. Wish I had him. Lucky enough to have him. Keep him, because good night. I mean, you could even like a priest. You can use your well, no, that would be the next turn because it costs 2. Mind Blast for 10. Crazy. Pretty good. Alright, so Nefarian. You can actually get him through Blackrock Mountain. He costs 9. He's an 8/8. His battle cry is add 2 random spells to your hand from your opponent's class. There's some pretty cool videos of him doing his thing where they steal his class, their cards, and win. He's in a few decks. Some people put him in their dragon decks. Just depends on what cards you have. You know, there's better dragons. Dragon fans are just gonna keep him because he's a pretty cool dragon, honestly. Alright, next up, Nosdormu. He's the Dragon of Time. He costs 9/9. He's an 8/8. And players only have 15 seconds to take their turns. He hasn't been seen in a while. I haven't seen him in a while. Earlier on, I did see him in a few decks, and he does make things interesting because you don't have a lot of time to play, especially in late game. They'll play him, and then you got 15 seconds to do your turn, and then you gotta, you know, think of how to deal with them. So it's pretty interesting whenever he's played, but is he played a whole? Not honestly. So unless you like dragons, like me and some other streamers out there, I would probably disenchant it. Next up, she is cost 9. She's an 8/8. Her battle cry is summon 1/1 whelps until your side of the battlefield is full. So, it's very well a whole lot of play, honestly. But she could come back in style. You never know. It's hard to say with the Nixia. I like her, but with her player, I don't know. I mean, Alex Strauss and some of the other dragons are more popular. I would honestly keep her just because I'm a dragon fan. But if you're not, you have her. I would probably disenchant her. Sad to say. Alright, next up is Sogoth, the Slitherer. He costs 9, and he is a 5/9 taunt. Great thing about him, he cannot be targeted by spells or hero powers, so the only way that you can get rid of this mug is actually to attack with other minions. I think he would see a lot more play if he had more attack, because a 9 health is pretty good to make him last for a while, or if he was reduced, you know, cost-wise. He is in... I've seen him a few times, and but he's probably just going to be in more control deck styles. So unless you're not a big control deck, you know, unless you don't play those decks, I would probably disenchant him. But unless you're a control warrior or something like that, I would probably keep him. So it depends on what decks that you play, if you're going to keep him or not. If he had more attack, I mean, honestly, I think he would be pretty good. Alright, Ysara. She is cost 9. She's a 4/12, and at the end of your turn, add a dream card to your hand. She is a really good dragon. You can summon a lot of different cards. There's one that can't be targeted by spells or abilities, a Dryad. There's a 7/7 dragon, and there's the dream card that deals 5 damage to all other cards except for Ysara, and there's another card that returns a minion to your hand, something like that. So Ysara is a really good card. She was seen a heck of a lot earlier on, and she'll probably be seen, you know, a lot through the course of Hearthstone's history, pretty much. So there is Deathwing himself. He costs 10. His battle cry is destroy all other minions and discard your hand. Your beast, plain and simple. Very thing, especially if you don't have a. Yeah, I've seen him win some games. He's pretty good, Deathwing. Hasn't seen a whole lot of play recently, but that doesn't mean that you won't see him again. And then there is the corrupted version of Deathwing, the Dragon Lord. Basically just same stats, same cost, 12/12, except he's got a death rattle now, and his death rattle is basically the opposite of his other one, where you put all dragons from your hand into the battlefield. Unless you're playing a dragon deck, or probably not going to see a lot of play. And being able to get his death rattle off is going to be pretty hard, honestly. And then, whenever you play him, you negate the battle cries of your other dragons. But it is cool. It does have a... I've gotten it because of the death rattle cards that you can summon other death rattle minions. It is a cool... And I was playing against my friend, so he's like, hey, let's see the animation. It is a pretty cool animation that he does with dragons fly across the screen. So pretty cool on that. But if you're not playing a dragon deck and not a dragon fan, you could probably disenchant it. But I thought that it would... It had a lot of hype, and it does look cool. Especially the gold version of it looks amazing. But, yeah. Alright, so Inzoth. He costs 10. And he is an old god. He's a 5/7. His battle cry is summon your death rattle minions that died this game. Inzoth is a very good card. There's a few decks around him. I'm sure each class is eventually going to have its own Inzoth Death Rattle deck. He has made Death Rattle come back big time, because I have a rogue deck with him in it, where if the opponent's just trying to get rid of the board and everything, then you play Inzoth and he summons everything back, and usually the next turn it's pretty much a good game if you get to play him, because they can't do anything at that point. Yaxaran, Hope's in, he costs 10. His spell cast this. He's a 7. Honestly, I was super hyped about this card when it first came out, and I even crafted it. I did a video. Has won me, to be honest, but time he suicides. Wish he wouldn't so often. If he didn't kill himself, it'll probably be better. Especially when you got so many spells that the Tempo Mage and some other decks have. It would really be. I wish it would. I wish he would just own face more. I really like his talk and everything, his voice. Alright, so last card is Yasuo Bound. He's God. At the end of your turn, put a minion from your deck into the battlefield. There is a deck made that's decked around him. It's the Astral, that Druid deck where you discard your hand and gain 10 mana. Next card you draw, Yasiraj, if you're lucky, and then he keeps putting out creatures for you, especially if they're legendaries or something like that. That's the dream. But other creature from your hand or whatever to get things out quicker, so I could definitely see him being used in that. Some gimmick decks like that, but other ones, I don't know, hard to say. There is one more that everybody gets. It is the man Sethan. Costs 10, his battle cry, deal damage equal to this minion's attack randomly split among all enemies. This is 6/6. So everybody should know who Sethan is. He's uncraftable, so you're kind of stuck with him. So I hope you like him. There's a lot of decks. I think every single class has a Sethan deck. Very popular right now just because he's brand new. So you can't disenchant him. So I hope you like him because you're stuck with him. But yeah, guys, that's all the legendaries in standard mode right now. If you like this video, hopefully I'll be able epics and stuff like that. So if you like the video, please give me a like. Also, if this is, I'd love to have you subscribe. Please subscribe. Trying to get 2 more subscribers. I'll be up to 10. So yeah, guys, much love. Hope you liked the video. If you want to see some other videos, just put a comment down below to give me some more ideas of what to work on. Thanks, guys. Hope y'all have a great day.